This whole world is filled with racists, man. We can't be racist if we're not the oppressor, man. Why does the world hate me? Is it cause my skin color, or you know you could never be my brother? Why does the world hate me? Cause I stand out in crowds, and anywhere I stand I'm black and I'm proud. Yeah. We was born to lose, but I came to win. Kept pretending the world where hatred lives. My skin's a sin in the eyes of them. My melanin despises him. They lie to win, disguise friends till the time of black life dies again. We should tie a pig and have a fry like they did at picnic time with kids. They label me a criminal, and it's visible, it's really you. Everywhere you move, there's a racist fool that'll race you cool and places you in a position. You might have to break the rules, can't negate those moves. We've been trained to do what they want us to. That's why they know your route. Time to audible. 1562, first slave ship touchdown. Took native crews, they hated you from the start, cause the universe labeled you a greater group. Lions versus saber-tooth, capable of taking you. I never learned what I later knew. You mad cause I never grew up in them caves. Why does the world hate me? Is it cause my skin color, and you know you could never be my brother? Why does the world hate me? Cause I stand out in crowds, and anywhere I stand I'm black and I'm proud. Why does the world hate me?
Good afternoon, and we're here at the barbershop, BABATV, and I gotta give a shout out to my brother, BABATV. We in Utica, New York. And I'm at the barbershop, and you know me, I'm Mercedes the Gentleman Benz, man. You know that's on the A&R, man, traveling everywhere, man, doing everything. But I'm here, and I'm getting ready to talk to a brother, and I'm going to ask him what his name, and we're going to ask him a couple of questions if he doesn't mind.
T.Y., that's what they call him.
T.Y., Ty. Ty, I just want to ask you, bro, I mean, when I came in the barbershop, I came in because, you know, the barbershop used to be the place for all information, and that's how we grew up in our communities, and that's how we know what to do and what not to do as young people. But today, do you think it's the same?
No, it's not the same today, because, I mean, it's like today, I mean, the kids don't have no guidance. They don't have no, especially up here, you don't even have nowhere to go. Back in the day, we had YMCAs, we had Boys and Girls Club. They took everything out. So they don't have nothing for them to do, and when they get in trouble, they wonder why they're getting in trouble. They ain't got nothing better to do.
So what do they do when it comes down to the fact that these kids are getting in trouble? Where are they housing them? Where are they putting them in jail?
And that's easy for them to do. Put them in jail instead of helping them to put them in jail. That's what they do. We got a young kid on trial right now, 19 years old. 19. For murder and a kidnapping. 19 years old.
So there's actually no, when I say, when I ask you, there's no activity, because you know they got little gyms and different things. There's none of that.
No. See, a while back, they had all that. You can go in the gym at night, I think pay $1 and open rec. They had the Boys and Girls Club, they had the Ys. Took all that out.
You got, I noticed there's a lot of different people here.
Yeah.
And when I say a lot of different people, maybe you can help me out, because something don't seem right.
Yeah.
It just don't seem right. Those people don't seem right.
But they drop them off here, like the Bosnians, the Africans. Everybody get dropped off here. I think it's the refugee holding spot or something.
Like they was housing most of us in those federal penitentiaries,
yeah, that's what it seems like.
And all that.
They got a little school form up here. They go, if they can't speak English, they send them over here. But yeah, instead of helping them first, you know, they're putting all these other people in there, and we can't get no help. So you messed up.
So, I mean, you know, don't you think that's a little bit shocking to have a situation where you have people, especially the African American, the black people that are out here that need to be educated, that need to have an opportunity like everybody else has an opportunity when they talk about America. But the question I really want to ask to you is, do you think a person can be successful here, or are they going to be held down here?
You're going to be held down here.
Straight up.
That's it.
What can we do to change this? If right now, if we can make a change, the one change that you would make here would be what?
I would give the youth more to do. If you give them a little bit, that's more to do here, because they don't have nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's real crazy. They don't have nothing at all.
But how about the black people here? Do they speak out? I mean,
no, they don't speak out. They ain't sticking together. They like you say, if you got a black business, they going somewhere else. So that's why they ain't gonna never. And they all stick together. We've been like this all our life. It ain't gonna never happen. I don't even worry about it because it ain't gonna never happen. I mean, it's just what it is. Wow. It ain't gonna happen.
You know, that's sad to say.
It is, but you know it ain't gonna happen.
Looking at a societal type of place in the community that it took a village to raise a child. You know it. I know it. You know what I mean? But I'm going to say this, and I'm a far reach out on this because I believe this. I believe that the seedbed begins at home. If we at home will teach the children that we have at home by stop calling them kids because that's ghosts. They're going to bump heads all the time. But letting them know that they're children and that you can be something more than what you know people want you to be. I mean, if you had something that you can tell, get the mic. All right. If there's something that you could tell the kids, like could they come by here and see you if they can't get their haircut so they can look decent in the street?
Come here, I give them a free haircut.
See what I'm saying?
It ain't all about the money sometimes. You know, you might be going on an interview, you ain't got no money. I cut it. I don't sweat little stuff like that.
Because you know the importance of an interview and how you need to look and how you need to feel. But a haircut makes a person feel great.
Feel good. Feel good.
You know what I mean? When I just got a line up here. You just hooked me up with a line up, and you know, and I feel great. You know, it wasn't much, but it was something. I mean, we have to patronize. We can't come and be around each other, man, and we can't even break bread together. The only place we break bread is in the penitentiary.
And
then that don't even happen there.
In the jail, you know, the Spanish people come in, they all stick together. You need deodorant, you need this.
That's right.
Black person come in, what do you got? What do you got? See what you can get from it.
See what you can get from it.
Yeah, we ain't gonna never. It's bad to say we ain't gonna never stick. It ain't gonna never happen. Not in my days. It ain't gonna happen.
Y'all heard it.
It just ain't gonna happen.
Y'all. Listen. And I'm saying this, and I'm shaking this brother's hand. And the reason why I'm shaking his hand is because that's how it begins. A lot of people don't realize that. But it doesn't take much to be friends with somebody or just cordially speak to them, especially when they're your own people. Not just everybody else, but you got to start somewhere, and we got to start with our own people. If we don't know how to respect and enjoy being around ourselves, then how can we enjoy being around anybody else? You know? And T.Y. here at the barbershop, what's the name of the barbershop?
Rick's. That's the owner right there.
Rick.
Come on, grab the mic. Owner.
You know I'm waiting. I just want to ask Rick. He said he's been around 15 years. 15 years. You mind if we just look around and show, you know, the barbershop? This is home. I feel comfortable when I come to a barbershop like this because this, I know everybody in here is real. There's nothing fake going on in here. This is real. You come in here and get your hair cut. You come in here, man, and you see all the black artists that are hanging up around the world, which I feel good when I can see those different accomplishments that's going on. And they ain't no little people. They got money. They made money. But Rick said he's a little bit nervous, so we didn't make Rick nervous though. But Rick, this business, how you survived here? You can answer from back there. He's gonna come back. We want to holler at Rick because you know what? We have to break that pain. You agree? We have to break that pain. And here's Rick right here. How you doing, Rick? All right, Rick. This is BABATV, and I'm Mercedes, and this is your barbershop, correct? So how long you been here at this barbershop? That's all right. You said about 15 years. About 15 years? Was it hard to survive here? Everybody's pretty much relaxed around here. I mean, you've been here for a long period of time at the barbershop, and we look around. You have the comforts that we usually have in there. Like you got the TV, the game is on. That's what I'm used to seeing. You got pictures of people that we know are making it out there in the world, and they're sharing things. But the most important part, your barbershop is the hub of information. And it's always been that way when I grew up. Is it still the same today? You guys still be able to tell them when the kids come in sometimes, you know, chill out, don't, you know, try not to get into something? Or is it just hard because there's nothing here? All right. It's cool, though. But, you know, and I understand that, and those are the things that we do. We need to break the pain. Because it's pain. Sometimes it's a lot of pain, and when you want to talk about a situation, you know it's hard for you to feel good. It's hard for you to feel good, and you know when people keeping you at a certain standstill in life, and they're telling you that this is all you can have. You can't go because we don't want to give you permits. We don't want to give you this. You can't build anymore. You got to have all of this money, and you got to have all that money. That's not fair. That's not fair game. And we in Utica, New York. And this is my people. Welcome to BABATV. I'm Mercedes, the Gentleman Benz Harris. Y'all know me out of Brownsville, never ran, never will, where the water stands still. And I'm up in Utica, New York, and I'm at my nephew's house, man, a powerful young brother that has a lot of knowledge. He has the wisdom and the understanding. So he's kind of keeping himself complete, man, and the fact that he's a dad that's taking care of his children and standing up to take care of his children himself. And he's making it the best way he can, and he's my nephew, and I'm very proud to introduce him. And I'm going to let him introduce himself because it's a better way to do it that way.
Peace and love, family. My name is Robert. Stop, Tank.
Here you are.
Say something. Say something.
Hi, Daddy.
All right. Peace and love, family. My name is Robert. I'm from Brownsville, New York. Never ran, never will, where the water stands still. I'm a young single father, doing my best to raise my children. You know, I'm from Brownsville, but I'm living in Utica, New York, upstate New York. I really don't know much to say. You know, I'm living in a town that has as distance from a lot of things. They culture, they understanding as a people, and you know, there's no type of, you know, black commitment out here. There's a lot of you know, poor judgment, a lot of self-hatred, a whole lot of self-hatred, and but. For the meantime, in between time, I'm chilling and I'm doing everything I got to do, you know what I'm saying, just to keep a roof over my children's head and just trying to stay there, you know what I mean, trying to stay there, stay put, doing what a father's supposed to do and making sure they good, you know, raise them with good intentions and teach them to be humble and respectful, you know. Here, say hello.
Hotep.
Hotep.
Hotep. The reason why I'm getting at that is because now I want to dig inside, man. I want to dig inside your soul and in your mind, because see, what they don't know is that, you know, there's a package inside of there that's wrapped up inside of there, because we don't leave anybody behind in my family anyway. And you know, we want to make sure that our boys are very knowledgeable and that they know what's need to be known to raise these boys under any of these circumstances as soldiers and whatever needs to be done. But let me ask you this, bro. Being conscious. Explain being conscious.
Being conscious is being aware of knowing what's around you, what's going on, and what you're doing. You know, that's being conscious, man. Staying focused, staying true to yourself. You know what I mean? Being Lord self-master, you know what I mean? And just staying humble, staying peaceful, man, and just, you know, just dealing with life as it is, you know? Okay,
so I want to ask you now, you live in Utica. How long have you been living in Utica?
Well, I've been living in Utica for about 4 years.
4 years?
4 years.
And in 4 years that you were living in Utica, have you seen any improvement? What do you see? I noticed there's a lot of different types of people around, but I noticed the black people, they're kind of strange. Can you kind of like fill me in on why they look like that? Why do they move like that? Why are they like that? Where are we?
TV. Tell a lie to your vision. TV.
Well, I'll break that down.
Well, what I mean tell a lie to your vision, meaning that, man, that's, you know, back in the days, man, we was who we were because who we been around. You know what I mean? You know, I sat around my uncles, I sat around my aunties, I sat around people that had good morals and stuff, man, that did good things in their life, and that's what made me who I am. That's why I'm able to take care of my children. I'm able to keep a roof over their head. I'm able to, you know, strive and use my perfection on some levels. And out here today, it's television. You know, is promoting drama, promoting you know, self-hatred towards your own kind. It's like all rappers today, all they do is make songs about killing each other and using the word nigga. You know, I understand what the word nigga means. Truly, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I understand there's an Ethiopian word that means king. But a lot of blacks out here don't know what that means.
Because it was King Davis, in fact, was the king. He was the highest king during the time of I know, but I'm not.
Yeah.
But I'm not even going to go.
Yeah, I know we ain't gotta go.
What I'm saying is, my nephew, these are things that we feed them. That's the bread. That's what manner is. That's the manner.
Right.
Giving that bread. But I want to ask you this too. Now I went by the barber shop.
Yeah.
And I went to ask him because I too went over there and I was looking for a black, you know, business.
Right.
I only seen one. I mean, I'm talking about.
There's three or four black businesses out here, man.
And what are they?
And it's a food restaurant. No, 2 food restaurants. When I say black, meaning that we all as people. Now there's a Jamaican restaurant that's on Stewart. You know what I mean? The black folks that's there. And there's a restaurant that's on Park Ave, and you know the brother that owns it. And then there's a barbershop. You know, one black barbershop, and then there was another black barbershop, but you know, the black people, they got into it. You know, they started having disagreements and hate on each other. The man messed up his whole business on trying to prove that he's better than that next man, showing that he got more money than him, and he bet, and the man couldn't take it. So he flipped out, bust a dude in the head, and bust his windows. You know what I'm saying? He told me it too because I be around him all the time. So he told me he was going to do it. And I said, listen, man, I prefer you not to do it. If you're going to do it, and don't get caught. But if, you know, think about it. And he said that his ego was being messed with, and so he wanted to challenge the guy. So he did, and the guy tried to cop out and say that he's sorry. And the store is just done. He just gave up trying to cut people here.
Don't you think that they'd be oppressed to a point here in Utica and our surroundings?
Well, it's the ones that's oppressing the ones that's oppressed.
You mean, well, that's understanding. So you saying that the black people are putting their foot in the black people's neck out?
That's a fact. That's what's going on.
Where did they come from? There was some sort of a hospital that was over there.
Yeah, that's on the west side.
It seems to me, could you like help me out, all right? Because I'm kind of, I understood when you said, you made a comment a little earlier about your choice in women, but I understand because up here, like I said, I walk down the streets and the people seem different. When I say different, they different. Facts. They different black people. These are not the same. I'm trying to understand, and they're not all African from Africa.
Facts.
They're not all from Indonesia.
Facts.
But they're Malaysians here. Facts. There's Russians, and they're mixing.
Facts.
And there's people from the hospitals that's walking the streets that's mixing, and they're having children.
Facts.
Do you think this is one of the results of what's going on right now? Why you have the most heinous crimes are coming out of this place. This place is on the map.
Nah, I wouldn't say that, man. I wouldn't say that it's because of the mixing. Because I met a lot of you know what you call mulattoes that are cool. I met a lot of white people out here that are cool, and that you know what I mean. That's down to earth. That's cool with you, and that's not violent or disrespectful on some terms. And the only ones I see that are like that is the ones that's black. Like black, you know, I don't care what type of, you know, black that you are, what you consider yourself as. If you come from Jamaica, if you come from Africa, if you come from anywhere, because you know black people was here on the planet of Earth forever. You know, we was everywhere. We first people on the planet, so it doesn't even matter. But it's just it's a culture. A culture that's being reborn. You know, the old culture that we used to have is in still me, but the new culture that's out now is not for me. So it's just a culture difference. You know what I mean? It's race mixing. It's having fun with everybody else and doing their thing. And to me, they look good. They look good having fun. You know what I'm saying? With other nationalities, they look good having fun. I don't see the violence. I don't see the hatred. I don't see the bitterness and all that stuff that goes on up here when you mixing with people. The only thing I see is when you dealing with your own. You know what I'm saying? It's like crabs in a barrel. It's like they always putting each other down. Your own. Right. I don't see the mixing. I see your own putting each other down, talking about each other, fighting each other.
If I may, just think Mercedes can go in a little bit more about the historical, you know, origins of the way it's laid out up here. I would imagine that if I grew up in a town, see, like I'm from upstate New York, but I grew up in Washington, in a place that was predominantly our people. You grew up in You grew up in Brooklyn, right, which is predominantly our people. Right. So when you come to upstate New York and a place that most of these towns were factory towns, and the factories closed, and they're, now keep that in context of the fact that these are majority white towns with very small minority groups. Not because black people are the minority, but up here, very small groups of black people and are surrounded generationally for generations by white people. I would imagine then that the black people would enculturate themselves after a while into the white way of doing things, meaning you'll find black folks that know more about how to sing the white ladies' songs than they do singing their own songs. Now, a form of so is for us, it's the white folks got everything up here, even though they don't have very much either up here because there are no jobs. So if there are no jobs for them, I can only imagine our people must be catching hell and would then become desensitized to the racism, because these some racist crackers up here. Brother, I got to stop you right there. From what you see for your 4 years, you might have met some ones that didn't have the venom sac in them, but you go anywhere outside these towns, out in Whitesboro, they trying to get them to change the name. It don't make no difference because the mentality is still the same. These are racist crackers up here. I see the white folks in the hood and up here and stuff with us, but a lot of them, it doesn't take that stinger from them, from the potential of them being hateful. We know that still exists. The white man and woman has that in their nature and is absolutely the enemy, and poverty doesn't make them exempt from that. Just keep that in mind as you maneuver up here. So of course the self-hatred amongst our people, I would imagine, would be high because you in a world of white folks. We don't have very much. They don't have very much up here. So their hatred, and remember, it was the poor white folks that lynched us down south, with them ones that was poor as a bowl of Yakima. Yeah, it was them, exactly. It was them poor crackers. So I found wherever they don't have very much, the racism and the hatred is high, and native Syracusans, black Syracusans, native black people from Utica, I would imagine, because I left and stayed gone, I can only speak to a point. I can imagine had to bear the brunt of a lot of shit, and after 2 or 3 generations now have become desensitized. They don't see what we see when we come up here. I just wanted to add that, to your experience, brother.
Now, I agree with you 100%. I totally agree with you, man, because I understand what you're saying and what you're meaning. You know what I mean? But I get that point. I get it and I understand it.
Not to think about the inbreeding that goes on among whites.
Yeah.
Something about poverty I'm noticing is a lot of inbreeding up here. You go to Auburn, where the Harriet Tubman home, we don't support it too, by the way, very much. There's a lot, when I worked at this pawn shop out there, literally every other white person that came in that pawn shop, and I'm not even exaggerating, had some kind of mental instability. All of them collecting checks. Every last one of them. So, I mean, they not the brightest of the bunch.
If I may.
But they still think they better though.
Yeah, but you know something? This same thing goes on all over the world. And most of the places that I've been in, they have a town where situations that take place that are going on when it's got to do with children and pedophiles and inbreeding and and all of those situations from Jersey. I went to Jersey. They had a place called Gould Town. I said, what is Gould Town? Gould Town is because that family were all related, blood and first generations. And I said, well, and this is out in South Jersey. So, I mean, you know, what Bubba was talking about, and the same thing that I've said before, before my nephew came to this area, I was in this area. I was practically raised around these people in these areas, and there was a place called Central Bridge, New York. Central Bridge, New York didn't have a big population, but they had people that never seen blacks before. When I came here, blacks were not seen before. When I say they were not seen, I mean they did not exist in these areas. Right. Now, Utica being an Indian, and Indian, they being our brother in the same, but it's still not the same because they're Mohawk Indians. The Mohawk Indians were a different breed of Indians. They weren't like the Indians that you'll find most of your black people related to. You see what I'm saying? They did some things. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they tear you out the frame. They wasn't to be friends with you. They wanted to have their own race and their own people, and that was it. You know, the Hitlerism in them. You know what I mean? But when you think about a lot of the other things that were going on, and how, you know, how it affected me as a child, being a Fresh Air Fun kid, living and growing up around Italians, because that's what was around. They had a pizza parlor, and we worked at the pizza parlor behind the scenes. We were there. We ate pizza all the time, anchovies. You know, I learned how to swim in the pike hole. I learned how to fish at clay banks. I learned how to do different things like use a rifle, shoot squirrels, know what cow freshening was. This is the 70s and the 60s, the late 60s and 70s, nephew. No, they did not like us. They didn't care anything about us. And there was a difference when it came down to color. And if you was a black from up here, that was a black from up here, or you was a black from somewhere else. There was a difference in that. I mean, these places back there, they called me a black ink spot. No. You know, when I was a little kid about the same age as Junior, I didn't know any different, but I didn't know how to take it. But they called me a little black ink spot. You know what I mean? And I don't think that was appropriate for a kid, but to them it was funny. Go get him pudding. To them it was funny. Come here, your brother. And basically, I grew up understanding the situations that go on in these areas, whether we want to see them or not, or whether we want to understand them or not. It is a very racial place. The percentage of people that are in the jails now, and I know because, yes, I was fortunate, and I'm going to say fortunate, not unfortunate, to have their hands on me, and they locked me up, so I got to see what was going in, because you don't want to talk about things you don't know. I'm talking about what I know. It was 98% of the people that were incarcerated in these jails here are in there for domestic violence. Do you realize that there was a home, an insane asylum that's right here in the area? And where do you think those people go when they're released, or when the place shuts down, or it loses funding and money? They end up in your streets. And so I'm going to give it to you raw. Half of the people that's walking around in the streets are either from incest or by being mated because they don't know that. I'm going to say mated because they don't know the difference between and not only trauma parents, but they were the parents that were in these insane asylums, either with the male or the female. Yeah, and what's going on?
Now, this is the real deal. Utica have a fluctuated of rapos that's here, and child molesters, man. And this don't have to deal with race. This deal with all people. You know, you got the most people that runs a lot of this stuff up here now. Mostly it's the Italians. The people now that are running things are the so-called Arabic people. They're not Arabic, but the so-called Arabic people are running everything. And most of them are child molesters. I'm talking about a whole lot of Syrians. A whole lot of them.
Well, they're all into that anyway.
You know, are child molesters, man. They in this building. Up here is the white people in this building, and then here is the black child molesters also. All through this whole town. are child molesters. You can look up UDPD, Utica PD. You can look up there and you can see how many people that are child molesters that you didn't talk to, that you didn't sat on the bus with, that you didn't shook their hands, that you didn't said what's up to, you know, and everything, man. That you didn't been in their house, that you didn't been around their moms, their uncles, their brothers, that you didn't been around them. You didn't ate off of plates with them. You know what I mean? People that are child molesters, man. And I didn't have my kids, you know, they gave my kids some candy, you know, shook their hand, you know. I understand, you know, what they did wrong. You know, I don't know them to what they did wrong. I only know them for what they doing nice to me. But I don't know them. You know what I mean? But when I look up on the UDPD and I see them, I'll be like, damn, I just sat down and talked to this dude. This dude just gave my son something.
They have to make it a matter of public record where they live at so people know.
Right. And I see that, and a lot of them is black. And look at this. It's not just the older ones, it's younger ones too. Between the ages of 23, 21, 22, they white, black, all of them. They're child molesters. You know what I mean? Like it was last, I think it was last year or the year before last year. It was a young kid that had some serious problems. He chopped his mother up in Rome. He went there and chopped his mother up, killed her and everything because she wouldn't give him nothing, no money. Killed her. And he was a child molester too. And he was a child that was child molested also.
But this is what I'm talking about. What you're dealing with right here is a catchment situation. There's a catchment situation that's going on. I went to Liberty University and I studied psychology. I'm gonna leave it right there. I know some things, I don't know everything, and I don't know the full history about here, but I do know that the mobsters, I know I lived with a family, they were called the Garufi family. They were pretty much plugged in. I seen the things that went on today. I can look back at what it was, and I can tell today and decipher exactly what I was around, who I was dealing with, who was raising me, who was putting and planting the seeds in me. And I think, you know, one thing I'm going to say about them, and inadvertently, they didn't even know that they were building me to be what I am today, because they gave me that patience it is and the understanding to learn their ways. You see what I'm saying? To be able to be around them is one thing, but to live around them is another thing. But when you have hospitals that lose funding and they release people, the new way of doing things, because of Senator Deeds in Charlottesville, Virginia, being stabbed by his son because they didn't have a bed within the 24 hours. He would, you know, they didn't want to lock him up. So now they made it where they can lock you up and hold you, but within 24 hours they have to give you a place. What I'm saying to you is that these people were released on the streets here like you do Roach Hotel, but bomb, and they scattered. And when you meet a person and you don't know a whole lot about them, because men and women, we attract each other by the way that we look, and some of them might have came out looking a certain way, because there's a chemistry to this I'm getting ready to break down. You see what I'm saying? Most people, when we see something, we see it because of something that fits in our mind, and it fits the way we like to see things. So we're attracted to it at that point. But then once we get around that particular thing, then we'll go for the thing that we know the attraction drew us to, which is usually the sexual parts of those people. Now when you run and you start talking, and as you start talking to them and you see they're not moving as fast as you're moving, but they look good, they look right, like, you know, if it bark like a dog and it look like a dog, then I'm saying, but they're not waiting to see if the tail wag like a dog. And they wind up getting involved in this. And then they find out later that this individual has some sort of a mental stability or something that was going on, or some ancestral type of thing that was going on out here, where, you know, it's just so bad with the, you know, I mean, molestation and those things are sick people in their mind, and these genes are transferred, you know, that makes up the people. You know what I mean? Once you have a baby, then they have the genes that you pass on. So you don't even know what you're breeding out here. It's more than inbreeding, it's mental inbreeding. It's and the mental part of it is that we want to have relationships and we want to live our lives like everybody else, but how can you do it? Because you can't trust who's around here that you're dealing with, nephew. You can't trust it, because you won't know until the child is born. You see what I'm saying?
How high is the STD rates in Onondaga County?
In Onondaga County, the STD, that means, man, but listen, when we start talking about that, Baba, we got to start talking about, like, if you can't find what you want in Utica, where you going? Syracuse, you're going to try to go to the biggest city. So it's just like taking a bomb. That's why they did that, man. You know, listen, when in Rome, it says do like the Romans. If Rome was supposed to be the capital of New York, you know the reason why it's not. The distance between here and Albany and what's here and what's going on. When the mob was running everything, they wasn't our best friends. I don't know how I ended up with an Italian family, but I know that it wasn't liked, but I know that they couldn't touch me. Right. I know that they couldn't do anything because I was underneath this family. And I did basically what I wanted to do. Right. You know, there was the squeaky benders and the other ones that was on there. They used to try to beat me up because I was black. You know what I mean? But it didn't put a tarnish on me. What it did was it shined me up. It showed me how to really deal with them and what they're really all about. And you got to know what they're really all about, nephew, because this whole thing that's set up around you is set up for us to be in places like this and them to be in the better houses that's out there. And what's that area? New Hartford, Singertown Mall, and stuff like that. Yeah, they got a little bus. You know, all of these places, Ilion, all of these little places, Chadwick, and all of these little places are inside of. It takes me 5 hours to get to the city. That New York is huge. Yeah, I know. And why are they transferring? Why do you think everybody is coming up here thinking it's so gravy, and when you get in trouble up here, you don't get out of jail up here? Man. Let me tell you, one town that you don't want to get locked up in is Rome. Rome does not play. They don't play games at all. If you have a domestic violence, because I had one, they're not playing games at all. You're getting time. If you got $5 that you owe them, you get in 5 days in jail. If you owe them $25, you get in 25 days in jail. You know, they're not playing games. They real serious on everything. Everything. So I don't fool with Rome. I don't even go to Rome like that, because, you know, man, listen, a lot of stuff that you were saying I'm not aware of. You know what I mean? But I understand what you're saying. This is why we can't. I understand. You, nephew, because I got family that's right here, and he needs to be aware, because part of my job of being an elder is to make sure that I plant the proper seeds in you so that you have to plant in your children. Right. If I fail to do that, then there's a link broke. And that's the problem with the links. Facts. The links that we have between ourselves and the generations, there's 3 generations that are missing links. Handing the mic on. 3 generations that's missing links. Like I spoke about in Brownsville the other day. Shout outs to Bubba Seville. And you know the great job that he's doing in Brownsville and enlightening, because we come from that what they call the bottom and worked our way to the top. You know, and when you say the top, we're above the ground now. We're not under the ground like we used to be. We're coming out and we're telling you what we was responsible for. Right. We're taking, you know, our responsibility and accountability for what we did that was wrong in the past, and we're telling you that we're human. We understand when you make mistakes, and we understand that, you know, these things take place, but it's not wallowing in that mistake, not having a pity party. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Not being selfish and not wanting to give away things that don't belong to you. The knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is not for you to keep. Right. God gave us a sowing mind. You can call it whatever you want to call it. They all relate to one thing, having someone that or something that is more superior than you. Yes. That's what it all boils down to. With all the conversations that we have, from Egyptology to everything else, we all come to one thing, having something that was greater than you. Right. So what's the problem here? Why can't the blacks that are here, and I'm speaking about the blacks only, why can't the blacks here get a foothold and open up businesses and pull together and do, if not one thing, build a park out there, or make it a park where you can have a picnic and barbecue where people can come together as families and meet one another instead of hating and gritting on one another because they don't know nobody. Now,
because they've been trained not to do anything but self unless you can carry somebody white with you. Because they've been trained up here that they don't want to do anything black unless I can carry somebody white with me. If I can't do that, and see the hypocritical thing for all of these, you know, you white folks out there who may be listening finds this so amusing. You don't practice that. Your families are intact. You build your shit for you and your people, and you content with that. We need to learn how to be content, because family starts at home first. You understand? We need to be content with our own selves first. Shout out to the ISUPK. Shout out to Captain Azani out in Syracuse, who's doing a marvelous job. The blackest man in Syracuse, New York. Hopefully they'll be putting a branch up here, or excuse me, a camp here in Utica, New York. It needs to be camps all over Utica, New York, because if it's one thing that they teach, it's the love of self and kind, and that is what is needed.
Now, out here, like he just said something, man, that triggered me. Now, when you said that about why we can't, do the parks and things like that. Now, every time we do something out here that's dealing with black people, it's always some white police off there that's watching what's going on, that sees what's going on. And I see a lot of women that's raising these young kids, and these young boys, and they raising them in a way where they being disrespectful. You know what I mean? And I asked one black chick out here at the corner store, because she was being rude to me. And I said to her, I said, I wish you would tell your son the same thing you tell me. I said, I wish you would look at your son the same way you look at me. Because I have my 2 sons here, and I'm not being rude or disrespectful to you, madam. I have 2 black sons that I'm raising. You know what I mean? And I don't call my sons ugly, and I don't call my sons stupid, and I don't call my sons broke, or I don't look for my sons for money. I just be there for them, to take care of them. So I told her, I wish you look at your children the way you look at us black men, because I never said nothing disrespectful to you. But it's that Willie Lynch. That's all I can say that goes on out here, is that lynch. They don't like the way they look. They don't like their own people. They like the way other people look. They don't like themselves. They try to
being bombarded by too many white folks.
Yeah.
That's why I was going back to what I was saying. After so many generations,
it just it's just crazy up here, man. It's just back and forth, back and forth.
You know what? The other thing that I moved into Kennedy Plaza, right? When I moved into Kennedy Plaza, and the reason why when I went into Kennedy Plaza is because I seen something that was familiar to me, like from where I'm from, Brownsville, and there's a tall building. I said, yeah, I can get up as high as I want. I can look over and see everything. And the things that I seen, I can see where it was Sin City here. I can see the way the theater, it's the Stanley Theater lights up. I can see the way it used to be the Utica, and now it's the Hilton Hotel. I can see the Radisson. I can see all of those different things, and I can see Genesee Street, and then think of the name of it. You know what I mean? It has this thing, and then you're having a gold top on the bank. But what do we have? What do we have as blacks here? What do we have? Why, I mean, you're not even giving us, we don't even have a store, a regular grocery store. You will give a grant. You will give a grant to them that come from someplace else. And I'm not because I think everybody needs to live. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that, I think everybody needs to live. I have a human side of me, but I think that we should be able to live equally. I don't think if we're going to do something, let us live equally. Why we can't have stores? Sell us the square feet, $6 a square foot that we pay for a store or something. Y'all got a tax cut on saying if you have a store, but let us have a store to start it off. And let us, and then let us do what we do. You said you'll hold back taking taxes from any store, only a new store that they have in New York State, is what I heard. There was some sort of program. I'm not sure because I just came back home, but they were talking about that. So my thing is this: is there opportunity out here, and we are not going for it? Or is it just plain and simple, there is no opportunity? And I'm going to ask that question to you because they got a workforce here, right? And in that workforce, look at him. And see, that's how our children, they have fun and they eat, and that's how they eat. Don't touch the thing, though. And then on top of that, well, he's having fun eating his pudding the way that he know how to eat it. You know what I'm saying? And we miss that, man. And that used to be in the communities. Kids used to be outside, and the lady next door or something will reach over there and grab you and wash your hands up and do this. So what I'm saying is, you're saying there is no opportunity out here.
None at all.
For anybody.
None at all. No. It's for bodies.
For who?
For blacks.
White folk?
White folks, Latinos.
You know why I say white folk, right? Yeah. You know why I say white folk? There's a difference between crackers and white folk. I was in Virginia. I was around white folk. You know what those white folks will do? They're going to give you a business. They're going to put you in business because they waiting to catch from behind it, and they ain't going to bother you. Right. See, they're going to give you green grass, a nice house. They're going to let you get a car on credit. They're going to even let you have a lecture. You know your stuff be all messed up in New York before you leave here to go somewhere else. And they see it, but they let it go. You know why? Because they believe in giving you an opportunity as an entrepreneur to make them money.
I need to go out.
See, we got to remember when it goes back to when they talking about Lincoln and when I did the Lincoln movie. And when I was in that movie, I started learning about what really went on. And the House Speaker went home, you know, Mr. Smith went home to a black woman. He didn't want to say it, but he was the House Speaker. He said when they were sitting in there, they said, well, you're going to let those blacks have as much rights as we have? He said, I can't let them have them all, but I can let them have some. And the only reason why he did that is because he had a black woman he went home to that they didn't know about. They thought it was the maid, but the whole time, and that's that secret that they used to do. Lincoln and all of them used to do it. Mary Todd probably would tell you a whole lot if you pulled up on her. But I'm saying that to say this. When I played in that movie, I didn't realize I was playing a contraband slave. So when I'm playing a contraband slave, I'm looking at how all of this is breaking down and how these people were, you know, was Steven Spielberg movie.
Watching you, right?
And when they started talking about what actually went on, and I seen how the people were contraband slaves, you didn't get away with you didn't get away. You just ended up in another camp.
Facts.
And you just happened to end up in the camp that happened to be a president. So then you was a elite nigga at that point. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing different. They had put guns in your hands because you asked for it, and they made you fight, and you got shot up and killed in Petersburg. Right. That's what happened to you. So when you said that this has been instilled in us, the Willie Lynch and everything else that's going on, bruh, I didn't have to turn out to be the same way. Why didn't I turn out that way?
Because it was a different time. It was a different time, a different era. The older black folks, the way they seen things, it was like they was more into knowing their neighbors, knowing their peoples, knowing their friends, knowing the people that they went to school with, you know what I mean, knowing their mothers, knowing their fathers. It was all about that, you know, at that time. But now it's not about knowing nobody. It's all about knowing what you can do for somebody to get to where you need to be. It's not want to know people, want to get along with people, want to do this with people. Is
the crab pot effect.
Yes, effect. It does. You know, and it's like that every day. I live with it every day, and I'm a survivor. So, like, and I'm not a person that run away from things that I have no power to control. I just deal with it and let it be because it's not me.
So you don't fall into the cottage.
I don't fall into none of that, man. I let it be. I take care of myself. I mind my business. I don't disrespect white people. I don't disrespect black people. I don't disrespect my elders. You know what I mean? Rather they women or men. And I just stay out the way. But I know what's going on, and I know what's happening, and I know what can be changed. But I don't think they ever gonna listen to me because I have a past. I have a history, and you know, just because I have a past and a history doesn't mean I can't change. But they won't let me change, and they won't you know, look at me being a changed individual that's being a father, taking care of his 2 sons, that's stopped being in chains, being under the chain gang, just staying away from all things. They don't want to look at that. The only thing they want to look at that is see me as being something that I wasn't born to be, something I had no business doing anyway. So, you know, I accept it. I accept things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference between both of them. You know what I mean? I accept it. It is what it is. You know, I can talk about the same shit over and over, but nothing changes. Nothing changes, man. And I just feel like a lot of black, and I'm not on that white black stuff. You know what I mean? Because I see my own people, man, that knows the truth, that knows what's going on, and don't want to do nothing. I see my elders that's black. You know what I mean? That knows what's going on, that knows this, and don't want to do nothing. You know, it's like this summer that passed, I seen some young kids fighting and stuff, right? And it was a man about 50 years old enough to be my father and their father, and he was video cameraing the kids fighting. He was video cameraing them, put on YouTube about them fighting. I meet a lot of older guys that's like 49, going on 47, you know, close to my age, that's still trying to be blood.
Are
still,
they from here?
Some is from here, and some is from New York City, and some is from Syracuse. You know.
Why do you think those people, as I was saying before, why do you think
I'm doing something.
that?
Passing the mic.
Yeah.
Why do you think
All right, get over here. I'll get you something to drink in a second.
in a place that's built the way Utica is built, and these little towns, Chadwick, Ilions, and all these little Madisons, and all these are little, as he said, these are little colonial. That's what they are. They're little colonial, little. What do you want to call them? Colonial. I don't know what you call them, because they colonizing, but we're not involved in it. It's them. They got Russian, Bosnians, and people from all over that have more rights than we do here.
That's what they have here too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And when I lived here, I told you when I was at Kennedy Plaza, I did meet someone, and you know what? And I'm going to say this, you know, Phoenix paper, because the Phoenix paper was supposed to be one of the platforms for the blacks in the neighborhood and the low income Hispanics and so forth and so on. And it's not about, no, we're not playing the black and white game. We're calling the color the way it is. It's black and it's white, and that's the paper. We're not talking about all the individuals of the people.
Right.
Remember that. When we say that, the white folks is what I'm talking about when it comes down to that paperwork. See, that's what we're going by. That's the thing that's holding us up when we go to these courts.
Right.
Then we end up in their hands. It's them white folks that give us those sentences in those times. But at the same time, I see there's a program here. Has that program, and why hasn't that program worked for you? Or does that program work for you? Is it helping you with your children? What could they do? What else could we do to make sure that these two boys and others can at least have a chance to get some knowledge?
Now repeat that question over.
In other words, what I'm saying is, what do you think that we can do as a community, as spokespersons, as leaders, as elders in this area?
Tell the truth.
Say that again?
Tell the truth.
What is the truth?
Whatever you see around you, whatever's going on, you know what I mean? If it's right or wrong, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Stop being afraid to speak your mind. Just be honest, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a dead generation. This is a dead generation, man. Yeah. Yeah. This is a dead generation, man. And this generation today is just gone. And they don't have no principles, they don't have no morals, they don't have no respect for themselves. They killing themselves day after day. You know what I'm saying? Day after day, they causing trouble with each other. They fighting with each other. They trying to be something that they wasn't born to be. And it's just the way it is, man. I don't have all the information or the words to say about it. I just see it, and it's a dead generation. And the only thing that can change is some of us got to leave this world. You know what I mean? And the rest of us that hear and that have the platforms and that have the understanding, we can teach these babies that's coming along. The rest of these folks, we can't teach them, because they're not going to learn. They're not going to listen. They're going to do whatever they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. And the more you keep trying to teach these people, is the more, I won't say you're going to fail. You're going to reach out to some people. Some people you're going to get. But a lot of people you're not going to get. And those people that you don't get, you got to let them be. You got to let them be. Because they not going to, I get it. I understand. You know what I'm saying? I was bogged out. I was running around, being gang members, shooting my own people, stabbing my own people, selling drugs to my own people. I see what I've done wrong to my community. I see how I messed up other black mothers and other black fathers. I see what I did. And so now that I have 2 sons of my own, I won't want them to be that way. And I'm going to do whatever it takes for them not to grow up like the way I grew up. You know, I grew up under a dead generation.
It was a celebration for integration, even though we're killed on a daily basis. We barely make it to 18, or incarcerated where it stayed green. Bunched up like some rape leaves, they say leave, but we're here first. Bow to the beast, we take the chair first. They think this is their earth. No, my queen's really their birth. They hit us where it hurts. Low blows and cheap shots. rehab and detox. Alcohol and cheap rock, but it came in with the bebop. Calmed us down so at the beat stop. They don't really wanna see the beef stop. Fuck Donald Trump, fuck O'Brien. Need the nosedive in the pool of fire. That's right. Crucify him on the cross of dying. Try to walk the path to the road to Zion. Cops terrorizing nice hoods. Take off the badge, put on white hoods. But sharp words do what a knife could. Universal laws of my face. Does the world hate me? Is it cause my skin color and you know you could never be my brother? Why does the world hate me? Cause I stand out in crowds and anywhere I stand I'm black and I'm proud.